Hey Inger, we're going to look at this video you sent me, and we're going to look at some of the ways that you may be accidentally casting your dog into the center of the room. And then also, I might go ahead and give you something really specific that I'd like you to work on that may give you some direction with what to do in practice. So, at the beginning of this search, you say, I'm going to try something different, so that'll be interesting. I'm curious what different you tried. I'm also curious as to the parameters of this search. I believe it's a known for-hide search based on something you say later in the search. But if I'm incorrect about that, just let me know. The first thing I'd like to say is that, every dog has a certain kind of search personality. And one of the spectrums that I'll put a dog on is on this side, we have dogs who like to detail. And on this side of the continuum, we have dogs that like to range out. Okay? So detailing means checking with a lot of intense detail in one area. And whereas ranging is dogs who like to go out and hunt in large areas, right? Now, every dog has to do both. This is just like in herding, how there's driving dogs and gathering dogs. Well, every dog has to do both, but every dog can have an innate personality that's within them where they're going to prefer one or the other. And your job as the dog's handler is to counterbalance the dog's natural personality. So your dog is definitely a ranging dog, which is typical of a lab. They go out in big area and they go and hunt. And so what you're going to need to do is counterbalance that with handling and training that emphasizes the detail side of nose work. And so one thing that I would have changed is instead of casting him into the center of the room, like you're doing, which a lot of times we don't realize that we are doing actively something to the dog. And then when someone else suggests, like I'm going to suggest, don't cast him in the center, instead cast him into the wall, then you think, well, I want to let him search free. It's like, it's not a matter of searching free. It's you're sending him into the center of the room versus sending him into the wall. It's just going to counterbalance his natural personality. So this start box area, you have a lot of choice of how to start. You could start into that sofa. You could start into the center of the room. You could start send him back up the stairs and let him come around the corner this way. Or you could just send him in here. Or you can leave the start box and send him here. So I just want to make you aware of all the different choices you have. And this choice is going to set him up to catch odor quickly, but then not necessarily cover search area in an even, methodical manner. So he immediately turns this way and goes and finds a hide, which is great. I like the quickness of your alert on this one. And now from here, where do we want to go next? This is something I always want you thinking about. My inclination would be we came this way. Well, technically, we came around this way. My inclination would be to continue the room that direction. Or you can go this direction. But one thing I want my handlers doing is have a plan. Don't just let the search happen to you. So if you want to go this way like you did, then fine, go that way. If you want to go this way, then go that way. And then we can discuss the benefits of going left versus right. I guess he hasn't really searched this area. It's so early in the search, but I don't like going over search area we just came from. Also notice that how you turned away from the dog. To support the dog's detailing and working of this wall, the way you want to turn, you don't want to ever turn your back on the dog. So you would spin that direction to go with him, but you let him go this way and you turn away from him and then follow that way. It's like a little nitpicky thing, and it may be because of the objects in the environment caused you to do that, but just keep in mind turning your back on the dog is usually something you want to avoid. Okay, and notice how he's coming through here, and you're following in the same line. I always want my handlers as soon as possible to come out and support the dog this way. This keeps out of your dog's way in case they want to double back, but it also makes sure that it's emphasizing the dog's detailing ability, right? Right now, you guys are both ranging. You're both traveling the search area, whereas you could be moving out and that would tell him, focus on the wall, focus on the wall, focus on the wall, detail a little bit more. That's what your body language would be saying to him. And he catches it. And notice how you're running into him and he's coming this way. You're kind of colliding here. This is crowding already. So if you had been out here, you can drive past and then the dog turns around, you're not in their way. Or as the dog's coming this way and they spin back around here, you're in their path. As soon as you see them spin around, you need to move out. Okay? You don't want to clash right into them. There, you see how you're now you just started to slow the last 2 steps here and start to move out. I think that response should have been out here and been wider. Now, you have a well-trained and drivey dog, so it didn't stop him from alerting, but I know a lot of dogs who it would stop them. And now here, you're going to cast him into the center of the room again. Instead of sending him into the wall to work the wall in detail, you're not directing him. It's just a choice about where you go next. You push him out here and block the wall from him. Fortunately for you, he just goes right to the wall, which is great. He does his job. Although now your energy here is pushing him off. It's very easy, and I know a lot of people will say, oh, he's responding to odor or something like that. I really believe the dogs are responding to the handler, not the odor. He would do the exact same thing if this were a blank search right now. That's an interesting moment there. It looks like an alert. He goes and touches that and then looks at you. You don't call it. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. You'll let me know. I think that you're correct in not calling it because all of his alerts have been really strong. And this one, he doesn't go back. He doesn't demand to be paid. That to me tells me that he's just wondering why you're so far behind him and running to catch up. This is not bad positioning. This is quite nice. Although you did kind of skip all of this area here. All of this body language is good. You can see how your body language is supporting the dog detailing now. He's moving very deliberately and slowly, working an odor. You can cause the dog to detail even when he's not in odor. Right, and that's kind of what I'm pointing out, is I want you to be able to provoke the right search response in your dog on command. Not verbal command, but like you, on command, conjure up the right body language. And you can see how now he's being drawn into this area. That's one of the reasons I like doing these patterns that encompass this, because he could get to this hide faster, and a lot of dogs would skip that and not work back. Your dog did work back, and that's a sign that he's a good dog, and that's part of what they're testing. But you can help the dog in guiding him through that pattern in the way that we're describing in the lessons. And there's your alert. So here's where you say find one more. And so that's why I think that there are 4 hides here. And what happens in a second is that your timer goes off and you call finish. And so we'll talk about that in a second. But this body language is correct for detailing, right? Not for ranging, for detailing, which is what I'm emphasizing, because I think nose work still favors a dog who details more than ranges, although ranging is important. So there you call finish. Now, I don't know, the 30-second warning has not been called. So your timer goes off. Is it telling you when there's 30 seconds left? Is there a reason you're not continuing to search for 10 seconds longer? I'm just curious about all these things. The one place I might have taken him back to is that area where he gave an alert. You haven't really checked this area, and you haven't really checked this area. So those are areas where I might think there may have been an odor you missed, as well as the odor he kind of alerted on. You also haven't really checked the center area. I don't know if that's so big of a deal, because I think if you get into the wall in the corners, any hides in the center the dog will bring you to. So that's my main recommendation, is notice what you're doing with your body. Where are you casting him when you move him from hide to hide? All these things are important. So I sent you all those videos of patterning. The first and easiest way to get used to patterning is on vehicles. That's what I highly recommend, is work a vehicle pattern and do it off leash. I want you to train the dog using good hide placement to go straight to the car and do the whole pattern glued to that car without you leaving this spot over here. So you don't move, you don't handle them. The dog does it all on their own, then details. And they should do that when it's blank. Now that's a several month goal. It starts off with just, you would work from here to here. You just do maybe a quarter of the car. And you might do 5 hides in this area. Then tomorrow, you'll do from here to here, right? And then the next day, you'll go from here to here. And then the next day, you keep going around the car until you've done all of it. And then you might make one of the areas bigger, like from here to here. And then from here to here, right? And then, I don't know, from here to here. And do all the half of the car. And then eventually you'll have a dog who can search the whole car without the handler. And then you learn how to handle. Then you learn how to walk around the car without distracting the dog. So, let me know if you have any questions. This was a really nice search. Let me know if I was right in my assessment about how many hides there may or may not have been and all that stuff. And looking forward to seeing your video next month.